and remove yourself from unacceptable. A very good evening. I, Dr. Rubvita, Chadha, professor from IIU, welcome you all in today's session. First, let me tell you what IIU is. IIU is the world's first internship-based university, building a better, brighter future for all young learners, and committed to P Group provide quality, accessible, affordable, skill-based, and location-independent education to learners across the world. IIU is metamorphosing the conventional education system by cutting down the additional costs and providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses internship to the e-learner across the global with a team of high caliber and experienced global educators. IIU has been accredited and affiliated with World Education Organization, WEO, and International Accreditation Organization, IAO, and collaborated with the world's top universities and educational institutes through the platform of massive online courses, MOOC. IIU provides certificate and diploma courses, including graduation, post-graduation, diploma, post-graduation courses, and honorary doctoral, etc. IIU has received many accreditation as per international standard for its innovation version, creative ideas, research, and white paper publication. There is always one person who has vision, the thought, the idea behind a successful venture and organization. Yes, we talk about the man behind the success of IIU. It's none other than our beloved co-founder of IIU, Honorable Mr. Piyush Pandit, a committed and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students and various social reforms. He is the real backbone of IIU, processing intelligent, administrative, verbal communication with written skill. He is Gen Next speaker, a passionate writer. The versatile Honorable Mr. Piyush Pandit is the founder of Swar Bharat Parivar and chairman of Piyush Group. He concocted the world's first virtual university, that is International Internship University, the IIU. IIU is the change. IIU brings the change. IIU is the revolution. So with this, I, the resource person of today's session, would like to introduce myself. I, Dr. Rubvita Chadha, professor from IIU, having experience of 15 years in academics, done my research work on collaboration with college to corporate for increasing employability, as well as published many research papers internationally and nationally, also a corporate trainer and motivator speaker in various leading brands and companies. So with this, I would like to now start my session. I will share my screen to you all the viewers, so that you can join my session with a PPT, and I will be sharing my screen just now. After that, we will be starting with what organizational development is. So first of all, viewers, I would like to explain you my today's topic, the need of my today's topic, organizational development. Now, why this organizational development topic was being taken as an important topic by IIU University. Basically, this topic was being taken in consideration by this university. Why? Because as the pandemic have been known to us, we know that organization needs to grow. Organization needs to have changes. Organization needs to have revolution as the building block for entire economy of the country. So during the pandemic, we have learned that those organizations are sustained where there is development, where there is growth, where there is acceleration of new innovation and revolution of new creativity. So This topic was taken in consideration by IIU so that we can accelerate growth and adapt the changes as per the changing environment and scenario. Now, let me explain what is organizational development. First of all, viewers, I need to tell you organization and development are two words. Now, organization means formulation of policies and practices by in collaboration with the objectives of the organization. We need to make policies, we need to make objectives, we need to make policies in collaboration with the objective of the organization. And development means to enhance these objective policies for strategies so that the organization grow and accelerate their power and their economy development for the growth of the organization. Now, first of all, I will explain you what organizational development is. Organization development means a collection of change methods that try to improve organizational effectiveness and employee well-being. Organization development encompasses basically we can say that organization development encompasses a collection of planned change. Now, what it is planned change? Now, let me explain to my viewers what it is planned change which has been done by proper planning. Planning is what? Planning is the blueprint of what we need to do it. Planning is the blueprint of what we need to perform in future. So we need to have a planned change for the organization so that humanistic intervention. Now, what is intervention? Intervention, these terminologies will be helping you all to build a better organization, a better managers, a better reforms in each and every spectrum. Now, what is intervention? Interventions are basically intervening into the system, intervening into the current system so that there is a dramatic and democratic changes in the reforms of the organization. These reform of the organization will have a capacity to change the entire spectrum of the organization with the power of growth, with the power of acceleration of the changes. Now, the next, I would like to explain you, organization is a set of activities which may be undertaken to increase the human resource effectiveness. All those activities, whether it is employee training, whether it is employee rehabilitation, whether it is employee growth process techniques, all those techniques which should be taken in the organization so that the entire organization can change its reforms in a better way, in a static way, so that there will be an organizational revolution in the industry. Now, moving forward, there are different definitions, there are different thoughts and philosophies which is being discussed and which is being need to know as an organizational reform change resource persons, which we need to understand and which we need to discuss here. So let me discuss few of the reforms, few of the definitions by the scholars who have basically formulated this organization development technique and have been made useful in today's scenario. This thought, this process have been used in last many decades, but now after the pandemic, it has enhanced this versatility, enhances growth, enhances spectrum with the changing growth and changing environment. Now, few of the definition by Warner Duker basically says that organization is the planned force of change in organization culture through cultivation of behavioral science technique, research and theory. Now, basically, I need to explain you what behavioral science is. Now, we all have studied about science. Science, we all know what it is. To know about facts, to know about figures. Now, if it is behavioral science says that we will be understanding and knowing about the behavior of human being, behavior of individual. We will be studying about the psychology of the individual so that we can analyze and judge whether the individual who are working is working for the betterment of the organization or not. The behavioral science also deal with the entire organization, human resource asset. The organization the development also says that human resource is the asset of the organization. And if their behavioral sciences are effective and creative, then the entire organization will work for the betterment. Now, on the French and Bell, there is a major contribution toward this philosophers and scholar, like in French and Bell has said that organization refers to long-range effort to improve organization problem-solving capability and the ability to cope up with the change in internal environment with the help of external and internal behavioral consultant or change agent, as there are sometimes these are called organization development. Now, what does it says? It says that we need to understand, we need to have a change agent. Now, what are the change agents? These are OD practitioners like me as an OD practitioner, as a change agent, as a resource person, intervene into the organization. We have been hired by the organization to change the process, to change the current situation, to understand the current situation and take that current situation into the problem solving spectrum of the organization. With this, I would like to explain the next definition, which says that clearly the important and the definition and the meaning of organization development. Organization development is an effort planned, as I've already explained. What is planned? Planning is none other than blueprint of your thoughts. We need to write what to do, when to do, how to do, and who has to do. All these things come under planned change. Who has to do it and who has to perform it, who has to deliver it, who has to change the strategy. It should be written in a planned mechanism. That is what planned change is. Organizational wide and managed from top. Yes, as you all know, that hierarchy of management. Now, what is the hierarchy of the management? The pyramid of the management. The pyramid of the management, we say the top level, middle level, and the lower level. These, the pyramid of the management, deals with the changes, and they are the person responsible for changing the organizational reforms and strategy. Next, increasing organizational effectiveness and health throughout. Planned intervention in the organization process using behavioral science and knowledge. Yes, as I've told you, behavioral science is a very important tool for organizational development. Now, behavioral science, as I've already discussed, it is the sciences which deal with the psychology and psychomatrices of an individual thoughts and behavior. Now, moving forward, it is very important to know why we are studying organizational development and what are the objectives of this topic. So first of all, I need to explain you now the objectives of organizational development. First, to apply behavioral sciences theory. Next, to improve organizational performances. Third, to ensure proper use of individual effort. Yes, proper use of individual effort. As we say that these five fingers will make a one punch. So we need to understand that these individuals in the organization will become the sphere of acceleration of working process in the organization. No individual can be working for the betterment of the organization. It is the entire organization who works together, thinks together, and perform together will accelerate the organization for better understanding and growth in future development of the nation. Now, next is creative awareness. Basically, now we need to know about the creative awareness. We need to know what is the, as I want to give you an example, the Starbucks has changed the strategy. Now, how the Starbucks has changed the strategy? It has uses new recycled products for using and for purchasing the coffee things. The Starbucks also have new innovative ideas. If these companies will not be changing the way they are working, if this is जैसे हम बात करें Walmart company के बारे में बात करें, if we talk about Starbucks only, the strategies have been constantly changing. The more biodegradable products have been used by the company for the user, for the consumer, so that the positive message has been given to the entire organization users, and it will also give a very effective measure for the entire consumer. And at last, is the effectiveness use kya hua? It is enhancing the goodwill of the organization. At last, this changes is helping the organization to upgrade the goodwill, to upgrade the brand value of the company. Next, to establish and maintain interpersonal relationship. See, as I've told you, organization development does not mean that we have fulfilled the change, we have leveled the change. It is the discussing what the changes is, how, if the changes is acceptable, if the changes is known to us, if the changes is easily formulated by us, then the entire organization will be very much fruitful for the employees also. Next, it says that to increase knowledge and skill, organizational development should also focus on creating knowledge and skills. Now, what is knowledge and skill? Knowledge and skill is basically enhancing skills. Again, we talk about skills. So development is the phase of that is helpful for the skill enhancement for the growth, for the employees to encourage, for the employees and for the workers to encourage and work for new technologies. Because if they will not be working for the new technology, there will be monotonous. There will be monotony in the organization. Now, what is the monotonous and monotony in the organization? If the employee and the workers working for the organization work on the same strategies, same kind of methodology, then there will be monotonous in the work. There will not be growth and acceleration in the economy of the organization. So there should be always changes, and changes can be encouraged by inculcating new talent acquisition for the employees. Next says that minimize resistance to change. Yes, this is the very much fear. As in the pandemic, we have also faced that there is always a resistance. We do not want to change the conventional mode of teaching. We do not want to change the conventional mode of, but this pandemic have forced us to change the conventional mode of teaching to the high-tech mode of the teaching. We, the educators, we, the academicians, we, the motivator, speaker, now are virtually connected with the you all, virtually connected with the entire world. So if we could have resistance to change, we could not have a better relationship, better bonding, and the education process, as we say, that it should be an ongoing process. Next, it says that create job satisfaction. The changes should be the fruitful, so that it should create job satisfaction to the employee. Job satisfaction to the employee means that we need to satisfy the employee by providing, agar hum ko changes ko adapt kare, if we are adapting the changes, we need to give extra perks, we need to give extra incentives, we need to give extra salaries, we need to give extra allowances. Why? Because we should acknowledge the change acceptable by the employees and by the person who are working is. Next is to increase motivation level. As we all know that motivation is the key tool for any organization. Motivation is the key element for any organization. If we need to inculcate certain changes, we need to motivate our employee to accept the change in the way the vision of the organization is being done. Next, it says that create supportive value. Now, what is the supportive values are? Supportive values, all the organizational changes should be based on should be based on the values, the ethics, and the culture which we have been grown to. It should not be a static change. It should not be a change which will be taking in stake away our values, our cultures, and our tradition. The changes should be gradually, it should be supportive, and it should be helping the person to have ethical changes and systematical changes. Next, now moving forward, before I move forward, now let me explain you the basic characteristics. Now what is the characteristic? जब हम बात करते हैं किसी भी चीज की इंग्रेडिएंट्स की, हम बात करते हैं किसी भी चीज की इंग्रेडिएंट्स की, वैसे ही मैं बात करूंगी ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल डेवलपमेंट. I will be talking about how the organizational development is being made. What are the ingredients? What are the characteristics which was helping the organizational development that should be known to us as a change agent, as an OD practitioner, as a change philosopher for the organization to change. First is alignment with organization and business objective. Now, this is very important. You need to know, you need to have proper alignment about organization and business objective. Now, what it is, we need to have a balance between what is the vision of the organization, what is the mission of the organization, and what is the present state of the organization. If this alignment is not being maintained, the reforms and the changes which we have made, it should not be done, it should not be managed properly. Now, next is root in behavioral science. As I've told to my viewers that behavioral sciences is the root for any organization, is the root of any organizational changes. If we talk about behavioral sciences, we should know about the psychological, the mental level of the employee who are adapting the change, who are facing the change, who are implementing the change, and who are using the change. Long range and ongoing changes. It is always says that change should be in long run, because if it is short term changes, it should not be acceptable and evaluated. So for a change, organizational development should always have a long range change process. Stress, a process orientation to achieve the result. I always tell to my viewers that stress is good. Yes, you all will be shocked to hear it, but as per the human resource manager, I know that stress is very effective, but it should be in a positive way. But it should be in a way to accelerate the growth of the organization. A stress should be in a way to motivate the person to work for the organization goals and objective. Next, it must be based on collaboration. It must be based on collaboration says that employee is the backbone of any organization. As we say, as we know, IIU is only known for the employees who are working 24 hours for the betterment of the organization. IIU is known for the 24-hour employee who are working for the goal attainment, for the objective which is being set by Mr. Piyush Pandit. So this collaboration, this collaboration and this system helps to motivate the employee to work for the betterment of the organization. So there is always a balance. If the humanistic asset is not being worked for a betterment of the organization, no organization will flourish. So hats off to the IIU team. Next says that features of organizational development. As we say, features of organizational development means a planned change, as I've already discussed with you all. Next is say a participation of change agent. Now, what are the change agents? The change agents are the OD practitioners who accelerate the change, who inculcate, who bring the change in the organization, who promote the change in the organization. They have been hired by X company, X, they have been hired by any other company, they have been hired by the freelancers so that they can inculcate and incorporate changes in the organization. Emphasis on intervention. Now, what is this intervention? Intervention means that intervening into the existing system. Intervening into the existing system means that we need to intervene. There is a set structure. There is a set structure of the organization. Now the change agent intervene into the system and change those tech structure, change those philosophy, change those objectives, change those policies, so that the organization can accelerate further for more and more betterment and for more and more better goodwill in futuristic approach. Now next is comprehensive change. Now what is comprehensive change? Organization development doesn't only change one part. There is a huge difference between organization development and change. Change is always a short term, but development is always a long term change. It changed the entire organization, working collaboration, working policies, working strategies, working mission, as well as the objectives of the company. So it is a comprehensive change. Next says that it is a long range change and it is a dynamic process. As we say that every individual is different, every individual's working capacity is different, every individual thinking process is different. So in the same way, the change is different. Change is dynamic process. It can have different n number of methodology, n number of theories for different organization, for different individual, for different kind and the nature of the person. So it is a dynamic process. Now the next come. We have talked a lot about changes. We have talked a lot about organization development. Now the main question arises that how we will be proceeding. What are the process through which we will be executing this change process? We will be developing the organization. So my viewers, I would like to explain you all these 7 skills, these 7 process through which we need to adapt as an organization, as an institute, as an academicians. We need to incorporate these 7 sphere process through which we can have development in the organization in each every spectrum where we are working with. First, entering and contracting. First of all, we need to understand is that the organization is not as a current situation. We need to understand is the organization is not in a please situation. So we need to enter a contract. Like I've told you, a change agent contractual agreement will be signed by the organization, by the institute, and that change agent will be working for the changes in the organization. Okay. Now, next is diagnosis. I always tell to my viewers that where there is a pain, अगर हम उसकी दवाई लेते हैं तो हमारा पेन निकल जाता है. I'll give you an example. If there is a wound, if there is cut in a wound in a finger, और हम डिस्प्रिन खा रहे हैं, हम डिस्प्रिन खा रहे हैं पर हमारी फिंगर कटी हुई है, तो उससे क्या हमारी फिंगर का दर्द निकलेगा? नहीं निकलेगा. हम क्या खा रहे हैं? डिस्प्रिन खा रहे हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि हमारा सिर दर्द दे रहा है. हमारा सिर दर्द दे रहा है. किसके कारण सिर दर्द दे रहा है? हमारी उंगली में कट लगा है, उसके कारण सिर दर्द दे रहा है. So that is what? That this headache is just a root cause. The headache is just the effect of the root cause. Root cause is the wound in the finger. और हम किसकी दवाई खा रहे हैं? हम डिस्प्रिन खा रहे हैं just for the headache. We are not working on healing the hand. We are not working on healing the wound. We are working on the effect of the wound. So my viewers, we need to understand we need to diagnose what the problem is. What is the root cause of the problem? Then we need to work for that root cause of the problem, not for the effects of the root cause of the problem. After that, as I've told you all, is data collection and analyzing. Now, data collection and analyzing says that after understanding the root cause of the problem, we need to collect the facts and figures which will help for the development of the organization, which will help for sustainable growth of the organization. Next is that feedback. Feedback, you need to take the feedback. There is always a very important things in human resource thinking and human resource psychology, which says that 360-degree feedback appraisals. 360-degree feedback. Now, what is 360-degree? 360 degree is a straight line. right? Straight line. That means in all the person who are involved, the peer, the mentor, the colleagues, the subordinate, the heads, all the persons should be involved in the changes of the organization. Now, next is designing intervention. Interventions can be any. It can be structural interventions. It can be a humanistic intervention. It can be process intervention. It can be product intervention. Intervention जहाँ जहाँ problem है वहाँ वहाँ we intervene into the system. Wherever there is a problem, we intervene into the system so that the organization can flourish better for better growth. Now, the next phase is leading and managing the change. We have intervened into the system. We have intervened the changes in the system. Now we need to manage those changes. We need to manage those acceleration and power. Last says that evaluation and institutionalizing the change. Now this is very important. Whatever changes we have proposed it, whatever changes we have proposed in the organization, we need to evaluate. Now evaluation is the test of the changes which we have proposed in the organization. If the changes is good, if the changes is not effective, the evaluation process will help you to analyze whether the development, the sustainable growth, the organization is flourishing or not, if the changes which we have incorporated is working for the betterment or not. It is the report card of the changes which we have proposed. Now, the very important thing and the key point that which we need to discuss today in today's session is when and why should an organization use organizational development? There is always a question. All the viewers, सबके दिमाग में question आएगा that when we should use organizational development, why we should incorporate changes, why we should have these development reforms in the organization. So here is the answer to your question, which you all are thinking. Now, first is development and enhance the organization vision and mission statement that you want. Basically, first you need to understand if the vision and the mission of the organization is not up to the mark of the international standards of the or not up to the mark of what we are thinking, so we need to change it. So we need to have proper changes into the vision and the mission statement. Next, to help align functional structure. Now, what is this functional structure? Functional structure says that we have to work together. We have to build together, like a building bricks, like if you're building a house cannot be built by single brick. There should be incorporation of many bricks, and then the house can be built. Same as the way when we are talking about the organization cannot be built by single brick or single employee. There should be a building bricks together. There are the human resources, that are the employees which are working for the organization should work for the structural change. Next says that to create strategic planning. Now, what it is strategic planning? Strategic planning says that we need to have proper growth. We need to have proper strategies of what we need to do in future. See, if you talk about if the present scenario, if the current scenario, those who have forecasted these changes, the revolutionary changes in education, the revolutionary changes in medical sciences, the revolutionary changes in the working capacity have sustained. Those who have not forecast the revolutionary changes is not sustaining in the organization. So those organizations, those companies, those institutes who have forecasted a strategic planning in the terms of changes have survived in the organization. Next says to manage conflict, that exists among individual, group, function, site, and so on. When such conflict dispute the ability of the organization to function in healthy way. It is very important to know that conflicts conflict is the important aspects also. Why it is important aspect? If there is no conflict in any organization, there will be no hidden things. There will be, if there is harmony in the organization, that is also very, very problematic thing. Why it is a problematic thing? Because the head, the top level, will does not know the loopholes of the organization. So there should be conflicts also, and there should be conflict resolutions also, so that the loopholes of the organization can be rectified, can be corrected, can be diagnosed, and can be worked on it for a betterment of the organization. Next says that to create collaborative environment to help the organization be more effective and efficient. Now, what is this collaborative effort? Collaborative effort, there are two terminologies, viewers: effectiveness and efficiencies. Effectiveness will only come when there is efficiency in the work. Effectiveness will always come when there is an efficiency in the organization. Next says that to create reward systems that are compatible with the goal of the organization. Yes, we need to understand that if there is a reward being attached to various changes, if there is rewards attached to various small initiation being taken by the employees, then this changes will be motivating factor for other employees also. If these rewards and reforms are not there in the organization, then the other employees will not be working and will not be having a better acceleration of growth for the changes. Next says that to assist in development of policies and procedure that will provide ongoing operation of the organization. Now, we need to understand that the policies and procedures should be having a better improvisations. Why? Because these improvisations will lead to the operational growth of the organization, leads to the better organization, because these policies are what? Policies are set of rules and regulation which you need to perform for this vision of the organization which is being inculcated and made. Next says that to access the working environment, to identify strength on which to build the area. Now you need to understand that working environment. There is always one thing that is very important which I need to tell you. Maslow's theory, जिसको we say that hierarchical theory also should be have a proper working condition environment. If these, according to this, if you're not giving a proper working environment, if you're not giving certain facilities to the backbone of any organization, that is employee, then their growth will be diminishes. Their growth will be declined. Why? Because the working environment will be facilitating the employees to work for a better changes, for a better development in the organization. Next is that to provide help and support for the employee, especially those in senior position who need an opportunity to be coached. See, we need to understand that we always need to raise the level. We should always be a learner, a good learner. For an organizational development also says that you should always be a good learner to change and accept the change, and always have a change at risk. There should be a changing enthusiasm in the employee who are working for the organization. Because if there will be no changes in the organization, if there will be no revolutionary reforms in the organization, if the organization will be working on the same policies, same objective, and same mission, then the employee who are working for the organization will not survive there. Why? Because there will be monotonous boredom. These psychological factor will hit into the mind of the employee, because same work, same style of work will not be enhancing the talent of the employee, enhancing the skill of the employee. So that should be changed. That should be acceptable. That new policies, new way should be inculcating and creating a spark in the employee so that these changes can be acceptable. Now, moving forward, now let me come to the conclusion of today's session. First, I need to explain the why this session was being organized to you all. Basically, organization development, growth, and the changing pandemic situation. This session was organized and was being planned to you all because as the market is opening, as the organizations are opening, the companies are coming back to the old mold. Now we need to understand it is not the old strategy will be working for the organization. It is the new strategies, new changes, new reforms, new revolution will now need to incorporate, now need to get involved so that the organization will have new avenue, new changes in the current situation. Now we say that business that grows by development and improvement do not die. Since new development are the product of creative mind, therefore, an organization should stimulate and encourage creative mind. Yes, viewers, we always should be having creative minds, creative thoughts. As a co-founder, have been involved in having creativity and formulating this university, First Virtual University. This creative mind and constant acceleration of growth, constant acceleration of change, and accept those change and work for it. We need to accept the changes, we need to accept the situation and work for the situation so that we should set the standard. If we set the standard, we should have the quality to maintain that standard. We should have the sustainable power to maintain that standard so that the competitors cannot mark us. Next says that is reflecting and growth for sustainable development in every organization. Hence, we conclude that for sustainable development and growth, organization development is the backbone of any organization. And as I said earlier, change the changeable, accept the unchangeable, and remove yourself from unacceptable. So with this, I conclude my session of today and I hope आप लोग को ये session बहुत informative लगा होगा. And further, we will be organizing these sessions. I request IIU team, organizers, the mastermind behind the creative writing and all. So to organize this session, because as the pandemic have been opened up, we as a change agent should incorporate these changes strategy in the organization so that there should be new power, new energy in the organization and as well as in the employee who are working for the organization. Thank you all. See you again and we will be meeting you all in furthermore sessions which is being organized by IIU, the first virtual university, and I always say the #1 university of the world. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye. Take care.